or another Air Jordan 3 that they just won't let me buy. The last 6 months has been riddled with shoes that I've just really loved, Air Jordan 3s that I've really loved, and none of them have been available to me, and that's really frustrating. We'll talk about that in today's video, but we're not going to get too deep into it quite yet, because what we need to do is look at the actual shoe itself that we're interested in today, which is the upcoming release of the Nike Air Jordan 3 Laser Orange, and it's a great shoe, an absolutely cracking shoe. It's exactly what I want out of my Air Jordan 3s. There are some shoes that I don't mind if they go a bit wild on, but when it comes to Air Jordan 3s, I like it when they keep it simple. I mean, this simple. And if you've been a watcher of my channel, you'll know that this is one of my all-time favourite shoes. I think this was last year. I can't remember when I got these. Was it last year or this year? The red cement. And it's a beautiful shoe, but it's a very simple, standard Air Jordan 3. Now, for example, this right here, dang, that's the, what was it, Animal Instinct 2.0. Not my thing, especially, I think when I talked about that shoe, that I said that I didn't really like it, that they played with the materials a lot, and they played with the patterning a lot. They should have just done one of the two. A lot of interesting materials, but standard colorway. A lot of interesting colors, but standard materials. But what they did was they messed around with both of those things, and I didn't think it worked very, very well. But then today's shoe, this Laser Orange, very, very simple Air Jordan 3. Very like that, very much, but very disappointed because I won't be getting my hands on a pair. And that really disappoints me. And we'll talk about that in today's video. We'll look at some of the detailing on this shoe and what makes it a really great design choice as far as Air Jordan 3s are concerned. So without further ado, let's get into this and have a look at the Nike Air Jordan 3 Laser Orange. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel, Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel des. Mainichi Absurino de, Mainichi Michika Design. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan. I just remembered something. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews every single day. And I haven't missed a day for well over 600 days, straight through YouTube, non-stop content from Tokyo Butter 23. And what I just remembered there was I have to remember to talk about the hang tag on these shoes. And I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to try and remember it for the end of this video. And I bet you I forget, because I'm like that. I forget stuff, and these things happen. But if I forget to put that hang tag in, I apologize. Go and find it for yourselves. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to put it right at the end of this video and hopefully see if I do or don't remember it. It's honestly, it's a 50-50 if I will or won't. But what we will do is, first things first, we'll talk about those shoes. I was saying how delighted I am to own this pair of shoes. I think it's a beautiful pair of shoes. Actually, when I unboxed these live, I was so smitten by them. I blurted out, I'm never going to wear this shoe because I love it so much, and I still haven't worn it. And I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong, and I'm a bad man. I shouldn't do that, and I should be wearing these beautiful shoes and showing them to the world. And I know they're not a particularly rare shoe. They resell for less than retail, but I just love it. It's my kind of shoe, and it's not to do with hype, and it's not to do with whether the shoe's going to have a higher resale mark than the retail mark. It's just me. It's my kind of shoe. I like that very much. I like my sort of standard shoes, and that's why I like this today. And there have been a couple over the last few months that really caught my eye, and I was like passionate about the blue cement. Boing, there's the blue cements there. I was like, that's a blue version of this. I think the only two differences, if I remember rightly, was it had a Jumpman, an Air on the back here, and it had Jordan instead of Nike on the bottom here. Was really the only two differences, apart from it being blue and all. But it was just, I was like, yes, I was really passionate about it. So I was right in getting that shoe. And then when they came out here in Japan, the highest size they had was 29 centimeters, which is 1.5 centimeters too small for me, about that much, which is probably the difference between me. I think I'm a US 11.5 and a UK 12.5. I always get that mixed up. I've been here so long. We do centimeters here in Japan, 30.5 centimeters. So it'd be a bit like if you were an 11.5 and you're trying to squeeze your foot into a 10. It's just not going to happen. And I know I can pick up those blue cements on like StockX or somewhere like that, but that's not the point. It's the day they drop and you want to get the shoes and blah, 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 blah. So I didn't get those guys. And then there was this heel here that really let me down in the Air Jordan 3s. These are the denim, Japanese denim, whatever you want to call those. They had a bunch of different names, but there's two variants, the one with the standard heel and then this with the Japanese heel. And what that says right there above the swoosh is Nike. They're the 3 letters that make up Nike in Japanese, not 4 letters as Nike would be, but Nike in Japanese. and I just hated it. When I made the video about those denims, I was like, oh, as soon as I get my chance to get my hands on these guys, absolutely, it's going to have Japanese written on the heel. Got to get my hands on those. Then when I saw this sort of weird outline effect, I was like, oh my goodness. I was going to forgive some of the things on the shoe that I didn't like. For example, I think I'm right in saying it's a molded Jumpman on the back on see-through transparent material through to Nike Air. So they were hedging their bets, Nike Air versus Jumpman Air. So they did both to appeal to both sets of sort of fans. But actually what happened was that neither set of fans liked it. But I was like, no, don't care. I'm going to forgive them because it's going to have Japanese on the back. And I was like, no. So that was the blue cements. That was the denims. And now here we are today with the laser oranges. And they're coming out in toddler, grade school and women's sizes, but not men's sizes. And even when they sometimes stretch the women's sizes, there was something they did that for recently where they really stretched the women's size right up into like men's 11 or men's 10.5 or something like that, which still wouldn't be enough for me. I still wouldn't be able to get my feet into this shoe, even though I like it very, very much. But that's not going to stop me talking about it, because I do like to talk about women's shoes at the channel. I like to try and spread a bit of equality and try and make sure that the sneaker culture isn't just a men-only event. But I am kind of semi against women's shoes because I think they just should come out in a full-size run and anyone should wear them. And I don't really like the idea that if it's pink it's for girls and blue it's for boys. I think anyone who likes something should just rock it, and that's why I like these shoes. I mean, they're a women's shoe, but I would rock them if they came in my size, and I think they are very, very cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into looking at the details on this guy that make it a very cool shoe, and one that's well worth going out, getting your hands on if they're in your size, regardless of what gender you are. So first things first, let's go right up close. I wonder if I can angle this in such a way that you can see the tumbled leather right on that toe box there, and maybe on the lateral side we'll have a look, and hopefully again the light is showing you guys the tumbled leather on the top half of this shoe. One of the main features of Air Jordan 3s, tumbled leather across the top of this guy, but all in white. And that's one of my favorite things about the shoe, because when you see laser orange and you think about red cement or blue cement, you're thinking it's going to be all orange. And that's probably the main plus on this shoe, is that they have chosen really carefully and really cleverly where to put the orange on the shoe. The rest of the shoe is all white and that tumbled leather white, and it's a very big yes for me. But talking about those details in orange, we go down at the bottom of the lacing system and you see the eyelets down there in orange, but at the top of the lacing system they stayed with, I think it's black for the eyelets up there. They could have gone with orange, but even a tiny detail like that would have been a little bit too much. So I'm glad they did not go with orange on the top half of the lacing system, but they did go with it down below. And then right beside that you've got that tongue on there with the orange Jumpman embroidered into the tongue, but the tongue itself is white, so it gives it that definition. And again, the orange doesn't overload the shoe, doesn't overweight the shoe, and you're like, yeah, these are cute little details, like well placed little details. And it's not too far to go with the insole on there. I think it's a great job on that. And then the final place where the orange really plays effect is down right beside the air unit on the midsole there, and you see that one little panel of orange. Again, it's quite discreet, they didn't overload the midsole with orange, and it looks really, really good. But if we stay down there, one of my favorite features in contrast to those denims, hopefully I'll be able to put a picture of the denims up, and you'll get a close-up look at the elephant print on there, because the elephant print is usually textured, but on the denims it was actually just design as in color designs, but not texture designs, if you know what I mean. And hopefully that shows up on the green screen here. And then if we flip it out to today's shoe, you can see that textured effect of the elephant print on there, and it's very much got that roughed up sort of different 3D sort of feel, different layered feel to it, which is a very big plus on this shoe. But then we get around to the back, and it's Jumpman Air instead of Nike Air. I know that the Jordan world is divided as to which one is preferable. I think I'd be right in saying the majority, maybe 60, maybe 65% of Jordan heads out there like the Nike Air on the back of their shoes, and then when it's a Jumpman Air as it is. And these guys are a little bit disappointed. That was the same with the blue cements. That's what the case of blue cements had the Jumpman on the back, but I forgave them for that because it was a beautiful shoe, but I still couldn't get my hands on them. And then down below, if we have a look at the outsole on these guys, I think I'm right in saying that it's, of course, it's got that great balance of colours down there, and we'll get to the grey in a minute, but the Jordan branding through the middle, not Nike branding, Jordan branding through the middle in orange to finish off a sort of look at the shoe. But the other colour down there is grey, and I think that's a great choice. They could have gone with a bunch of different choices down below on these guys, but I think the grey really helps some of the features to pop. And if we go back to that elephant print shot, I think you'd be able to see on the back half of the outsole where it's grey, you see how the features on there really pop because it's grey, and then the same on the toe roll with those classic stars right up on the front of the shoe, again being in grey, helps all of that to pop off. And then the final thing to talk about on these shoes is the hang tag. I didn't forget to do it. I actually remembered to do it about 2 minutes ago, and I was like, ooh, better remember to do that. The hang tag, one of my biggest disappointments with the Air Jordan 4 Breads from last year. It was a big shoe for me, if you know my channel. Very disappointed with the hang tag on there, which is a very simple, plasticky, just, oh my goodness, it was, I can't even describe what it was like, but very thin, like a millimeter thin plastic kind of, I don't even know what you'd call it. Whereas this here is the classic kind of, transparent, sort of encased hang tag, big chunky thing. Glad to see them going back with that. And of course, the final hit of Laser Orange on these shoes. So back out, beautiful shoe. If you've got feet to fit them, go ahead and buy these guys, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. I envy you because it's my kind of shoe. The one thing that I would be hesitant on with these guys is that they're white, and I mess my shoes up terribly. They get very dirty very quickly, and white shoes, that's a big problem with. But still, it would have been a shoe that I'd been happy to go for, because Jordan 3 is one of my favourite silhouettes of all time. And speaking of time, it's just midnight on, I think it's Monday night. I'm on a week's summer holiday, so I forget what day it is. I think it's Monday night. This will be Wednesday's video, Wednesday the 12th. And then I think this shoe drops on around about the 22nd, 23rd, something like that. Maybe the 21st, maybe the 25th, but into the 20s of August. So that's what I do at the channel. Upcoming sneaker releases, talk about them, give you guys some hits out there, and hopefully give you a little push towards whether or not you want to actually get these guys or not, based on what I've told you. And speaking of telling you things, I'm going to tell you what I tell you at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.